How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Dave, which is the founder of Freedom Venture. So, Dave, tell us what are the 5 steps that property investors should be doing out there to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Yeah, great question, man. Look, it's a universal 5-step process, right? Don't deviate from the plan, don't reinvent it. Learn it and then implement it. That's really the secret. So step one is always defining what do you want. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter whether it's a real estate transaction. Doesn't matter whether you're building a business to groom puppies or you want to be a fashion designer. The number one drive is always clarity of what you want, right? If you are all about cars, boats, and leather coats, and flash, and palm trees, and bikinis, and little drinks with umbrellas, if that's who you are, that's what you want. It's just dough, right? Money. What do you want? Do you want stability for yourself and your family and your legacy and your future? What do you want? Do you want to have a social impact? Do you want to raise the class in which you grew up in? Do you want to, give back to the community? Whatever it is that you want, because if you don't get that first step right, if you don't clarify it for yourself, it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to start seeing, the bullseye moving in all these different places. And if you're anything like me with the entrepreneurial spirit, I can get easily distracted. So step number one is always clarity. Step number two, education. And I highly recommend you get educated from experts in the field in which you want to perform. Okay. Again, in any business, educate, don't speculate, right? So if in my world, in the world of real estate, it's always about, what strategy do I want to be proficient in? There's an old English saying, it's the jack of all trades and the master of none, right? And what that basically means is you're only a little bit good at a lot of things when you really need to be exceptional in maybe two or three things. So in the real estate world, we have a number of different strategies that we use, that we get educated on. The fundamentals of real estate is understanding the numbers. Get educated in the numbers. What is a single family home really worth? What are the rental incomes in your marketplace? What is it that you need to do to actually financially take down these assets? Educate, 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 educate. Now, I'll do a little sidebar to step number two, the education. There's a lot of education out there. Okay, there's a lot of education out there. And let's be frank, with the growth of AI and the growth of YouTube University, education, right? Education is proficient, but I would suggest strongly that if you are looking to do your first million in a real estate business, you might want a little bit more than YouTube University. If I want to be a heart surgeon, you do not want me working on your heart if I've learned how to do heart surgery from YouTube University. Okay. If I want to be right? If I want to be a structural engineer, you're not going to drive over my bridge if I learned how to build bridges on YouTube University. And it infuriates me. It infuriates me because people get a little bit of knowledge and they go, "Oh, I got it. I'm in, baby. Let's go." And
Oh,
then they
yeah.
lose, right? They lose their money or somebody else's money. So step one, what do you want? Step two, get educated. Step three is about who are you now surrounding yourself with? I got my education. Maybe I learned it from an expert, somebody who has the skills that I'm looking to fine tune. But who are you hanging around with? And I'll tuck in a little story here. My success depended heavily on the influences that I allowed into my life. I grew up on a council estate in the south of England, in Andover, in Hampshire. There were not a great deal of entrepreneurs growing up on the council estate. Okay, there were not.
Well, I
Right?
don't think you're gonna find it.
You know what I'm saying? I come I come to America. I emigrated in '86. I come to the States and I get a really great job, man. I was a firefighter and a paramedic. I worked in the community. I worked with firefighters. I loved what I did. But if I look to my left and I look to my right, Harry, it was just a carbon copy of where I was at that moment in time, right? You are the common denominator of the
Mhm.
five people that you hang around with the most,
Absolutely, absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
And guess what? Not one of those firefighters was earning $1 million a year. Not one of them, right? So you got elevate, elevate. If you are the smartest person in a room, you're in the wrong room, is what my mentors told me. So step three, who are you surrounding yourself with? And that can be achieved pretty quickly through networking, right? From learning the local clubs. Like for us in the States, we have real estate investment clubs. Being a part of that and going in there as a newbie, be humble. Be humble, man. Look, I don't know anything. I'm new. I'm Dave. Help, right? What can I do for you? That was one of the weirdest things I had to learn how to
Absolutely.
say to
Yeah.
build network, right? What can I do for you? Hi, my
How can
name's
I help
Dave.
you? Yeah.
How can I help you? What do you need? What do I have that you need? And can we work the law of reciprocity? So step three, network. Step four. This is the one that everybody falls off the cliff, right? Implementation.
Oh my God. Tell me
Implementation.
about it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
The people said, I
Do
have a
it. Then
great
do it again.
idea. Everybody, every time
Oh,
everybody come, I have a great idea. I'm like, oh boy, here it comes the idea.
yeah. Yeah. Look, man, action, action, action speaks louder than words, right? I was in an education arena. I was working up in Toronto. I was up in Canada, and it was a Tony Robbins and Pitbull marketed event, right? There was 16,000 Canadians, and I'm up on stage, talking real estate and blah, 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 blah. And I come off the stage, and this guy comes fighting all the way to the front, right? And he starts telling me why he's the best ever, right? Why he's doing this and why he's doing that, and this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And I gently allow him to dig a big enough hole for himself that I don't want to hurt the guy. I don't want to embarrass the guy. But at the end of the day, he was a talker. He did a lot of this and he didn't implement. There was no rubber
Absolutely.
meeting the road. And I said to him, I said, with all due respect, my friend, you're not an entrepreneur. I said, you're an entrepreneur. Because all you're doing is talking, right? Elon Musk builds a plan, implements the plan, does it. Bezos does it, right? These guys that we look at and these, the Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, these entrepreneurs, they've got the systems behind them, but then they implement it. So then that's step five. The first time you implement and it becomes successful, you then make that a system. So you don't have to go back and relearn it and do it all over again. Systems save yourself time, energy, money, and stress. That's what it stands for. Systems. So at step five, I'm now systematized. It's repetitive. I can begin to delegate some of the tasks within my business, looking at properties, underwriting properties, talking to investors, right? I don't have to be the center of my own business universe. And as soon as I implement those steps through, now I'm off and running, and I can start working towards $1 million in the bank. How you doing? There you go. Those are my 5 steps.
Wow, I love them. And Dave, let's see, because I still don't understand how you managed to come from a council state in United
Yeah,
Kingdom, then you end up
yeah,
working, you immigrate to United States, and then you are with your fellow firemen from
yeah,
serving the community. Yeah. But this is
yeah.
completely different, Dave, than I see in front of me. What happened? Where you decide that you want to become a property investor? These are big words, yeah, and
Yeah.
especially when nobody around you is making a million. So
Yeah,
how come you
yeah,
went for
yeah,
it? What happened? Do you saw TV shows? Do you have a friend that approached you said, "Look, there is a lot of money doing real estate. You should
yeah.
not do this anymore." There is so how this transition happened. Tell us a little bit more. Number one, a little bit of your story, and number two, one out of five, one out of six entrepreneurs that come to this a program, to this broadcast on a top of five cent to make the first million. They are property investor, property entrepreneur, and people might think,
Yeah,
yeah, learning from YouTube University, as you described, that it's easy
yeah,
to become a millionaire in property, and nobody knows that when you get it wrong in property, oh boy, it hard. So, tell us a little bit
yeah,
more about your
yeah.
story and what is the reality. Being a property
Yeah, look,
investor because people only see the shiny lines. I don't want our listeners to be. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. One of the biggest. My first business was in property. We managed to sell over 5 million. Property is an amazing vehicle for you to become a millionaire, to become one of the
sure.
best in the planet, in my opinion. It's reflected in the statistic of this very same podcast. So if you
Mm,
can see the people that
mm.
come and participate. However, um, I don't want the people to think that there are not some challenges, Dave. So you tell us which challenge do you have? How was your transition from an employee
Yeah,
to a property investor? Yeah, do you got everything right? Do you become a millionaire fast? Nothing went wrong. But also,
where's
let
that
me a little.
plan? I want to see that
I'm
plan.
looking forward to hear what happened. Yeah, and a little bit how this transition when you
Yeah,
decided that
look,
you're gonna go for it.
yeah, sure. Look, I coming from, that council estate background, really a blue collar background. One of the books that I read was obviously Rich Dad Poor Dad Kiyosaki, right? And he talks about, working for money and having money work for you. How do you transition from one side of the equation to the other? And I knew only to trade time for money. I love my father dearly, but he instilled in me a work ethic that was never going to get me to $1 million, and it was never going to give me any financial freedom. Just wasn't.
My
There
dad,
aren't enough.
my one also, yeah. So welcome to the club.
Yeah,
I'm also there, yeah.
yeah. It's like they
They
don't
don't know any
understand that
better. They love you. They don't know any better.
they
What can they
they
do?
love you. It's for sure. It's not moral. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's information. Information. What do you think, right? So, I came to America, as a young kid, 20 years old. I was following my first wife, who was an American. That's how I came here. And for the first 3, 4 years I was in the country, they gave me a credit card, man, and I could keep buying stuff. And I'm like,
Wow.
this is America. This
This
is
is
awesome. You
unbelievable,
know,
yeah.
woohoo, hey, it's a party,
And
right?
you can
So
buy now
I'm
and pay in installments and later, and you get the big
yeah,
TV right now.
yeah,
That's awesome,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and then you're waiting for the tax return. Hercules, Hercules, where's my tax return? I'm going to buy some more stuff, right? So I say it in a humorous manner, but that process, that lack of education mentally,
Oh my
that
God.
lasted, man. That lasted for 15 years. 15 years of always trying to catch up, catch up, catch up. I get the job in the fire department.
And
I
it doesn't
figure I'm
matter,
good.
Dave, what you do. You spending more what you're making. It doesn't matter
Sure,
what you do, and then
sure,
you trap in there. You
sure.
trap there, and there is no way out. And you are
There's no
like,
way out.
you're going to work knowing that the day that they're gonna pay you your salary, it will disappear in a minute.
Yeah. 70,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
My house, my primary residence, this is 2008, 9, 10, right? Around the time of the crash. My primary residence over leveraged to 2 times its market value when the market crashes.
Wow.
And on top of that, my brother, I'm working,
My goodness.
trading time for money, 120 hours a week. I'm working in the fire department. I'm working construction. I'm a builder on my days off, 4 days off in the firehouse, 2 days, 2 nights, 4 days off. My 4 days off, I'm a builder. I'm working construction. And then on the nights and the weekends, I'm working in a department store as a security guy, beating up shoplifters and junkies and getting my my
Uh,
my butt handed to me. And I can't get
and
ahead,
still
right?
and still you get all this money and you cannot catch up. with
gone,
the credit card bills? Oh my
gone.
God, Dave.
Money in, money out, gone. So
So how you
anyway,
get? What happened?
yeah.
How
Look,
you get out of
I
this?
was I was losing my house. Okay, I was losing my
Wow.
primary residence, and I'm praying to my God, and I'm in my pickup truck, and I'm like, God, you got to help me. You know, I did everything that my father said to do. I didn't lie, cheat, or steal. I work hard. Help me. And I hear nothing. I hear nothing. No feedback. No words. No whispers. And I turned the radio on in the truck, and it was to go, and there was a commercial to go to a seminar. And the
Wow.
commercial was teach me foreclosure, right? Foreclosures,
Foreclosure.
single family residence, how to do real estate with no money down. And I'm like, okay, God. And I watched the
When
shows
you
on
said I don't have
TV.
money, so this is right for me.
This is right for
I
me,
can go
right?
into right real estate without no money.
That's
These
right.
people are speaking to my
That's right.
ears, right?
No money, no money. So anyway, I go into this thing, and I go home to my wife and I tell her we're going to do real estate. This is it. She said we don't have any money. I said don't worry about it. They say you can do it with no money down. And I remembered a couple of years prior, I'm working construction on a house, and it's in Boston in January, and everything's frozen in Boston in January. And I'm trying to dig a footing down 4 feet with a big auger machine. Couple of South American gentlemen are working with me, right? And we're working on this auger, and it was comedic. We're like spinning around on this thing. And anyway, this car pulled up, and two guys get out, and a young lady. They're all wearing the big, expensive, puffy jackets. It's a nice car. So I said to one of the guys, I'm like, "Who's that?" He goes, "Those are the investors." I go,
Wow.
"Investors? What's an investor?" He goes, "Well, if they buy the house, it's us who's fixing it up and they make the money." So a seed
Wow.
was planted years earlier. So then this commercial comes on, and I'm like, all right, we got to go. And we went. And I invested $27,000 on my wife's credit cards, the last of the money for education. Step two,
Wow.
right? Education. And I did
The best
what I was
decision.
told to do,
The best decision you
implementation.
ever took. Wow.
Right. And that's how
That's
I
very
started. And
impressive.
my
Very impressive.
my first my first payday. Remember, $70,000 in the hole, house in pre-foreclosure, everything's dark, and I get a check because I learned how to control a piece of real estate. In the States, you can control the purchase and sales agreement, and then there's equitable value in that contract. And if you know what you're doing and you do it the right way, you can sell the contract and sell the value in that contract on a single family home. And there was a lot of opportunities when the market crashed. And I made my first check, and it was for $5,000. I sold the
Wow.
contract, 5 grand,
Wow.
and I'm like,
You made
right,
5K just like that?
like that on a
With no
contract,
money?
and
With no money?
no money. No, I had 27,000 to learn how to do
Well,
it, but
to
I soon
learn,
got that
but at
back,
the end of the
right?
day,
No
wow.
YouTube University back then, right? No YouTube University, and I made 5 grand on a contract, and
Wow.
that that was the catalyst. Because here's the magic to it all, Harry. Once somebody says you can't do something and you do it, they can't ever tell you ever again that you can't do something. My father to
Absolutely.
this day isn't sure whether I'm a real estate guy or a drug dealer because he still doesn't understand.
If I tell you about my mom, yeah, every time I said to my mom, I'm gonna expand my business, my mom, don't expand, don't expand. It's like
That's
I'm
right.
talking evil
Yeah,
to her. You know what I mean? She
yeah,
doesn't even
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
even expanding. She just listen, how it's
That's
gonna
right.
expand,
She-
and she said, no expansion, no, I don't want. Leave it
yeah,
as it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to hear any more.
yeah,
It's that word. I don't hear expansion. You know?
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
That's where it started. That's where it started. And you do one deal, you do two deals, you do three deals. And then the guys that I was learning from in that seminar environment, they noticed my track record, and they said, "Why don't you teach?" I'm like, "What do you mean teach? I can't teach. I'm still in the hole. I'm trying to get myself up." They go, "Teach the systems. Save yourself time, energy, money, stress. Teach the systems because you've implemented the systems and they've brought you success. Teach other people how to do that."
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I went out internationally, nationally, and then I get a TV show. Now I'm the guy that's on TV flipping houses. I'm on the Today Show, which is like Good Morning Britain. I'm on
Uh-huh.
CNBC and NBC and Fox News, and now I'm the expert. So that's the short version of how it all came to be.
Dave, but in the end, the what really has been impressive is for me. I'm again. I read the same book. Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and
Yeah.
when I was working in London, in a pub in Euston Station, they were paying me
Mm.
five 5.75 per hour back then. It was not even £6 per hour,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm spending more than I'm making. You see, when I pay my oyster card, when I pay my food, when I pay everything, I'm like, I'm working Monday to Sunday in the pub in Houston Station. The same company used to own a franchise underneath the pub. There was Threshers. There was the company's not on anymore in UK, but they sell wine. And I was
Mm.
working in the pub Monday to Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday in Threshers downstairs. The pub was on the second floor, Threshers was in the bottom floor. And Monday to
Yeah.
Sunday,
Yeah.
saying to the luckily the manager Paul give me more. I tell Paul, you need to give me hours because I cannot make it to the end of the month. And Paul was giving me hours in the pub or in the
Yeah.
or in the
Yeah.
wine store
Yeah.
to make sure that I work, that I'm full, several shifts, several hours from Monday to Sunday, and still I'm going home. I go pay and checking my thing, and by the time that I pay rent, the oysters, food, this and that, I'm like, I'm spending
Mm.
more than I'm making, and this is
Hmm.
frustrated. Then my
Hmm.
dad got sick, got cancer and he got an operation in Spain. I don't even have £1 to go to see him, to say him medicine, to
To
see how
see
he's
him.
doing,
Yeah.
and I'm like so frustrated with the whole situation. And then
Mm.
I took I'm looking at my bill and my expenses, and I see oyster 100, food whatever, this whatever, and I'm saying rent 60%. 60% of the whole income was rent, and I'm
Mm.
like, oh boy, this is what the problem is. So
How do
I
I
went
receive it, right? How do I receive it rather than
exactly.
spend it? Yeah.
So I went to property business out of necessity. Yeah. So when it is frustration, you see, I'm seeing this bill, and then I took the book. One of these
Yeah.
nights that I couldn't sleep because I'm so stressed out I cannot even sleep, and then I took the book of Robert Kiyosaki. I read that, put that. I read this book in 4 hours. When it was open, and then I was bank open 9 a.m. I went there and I asked for a loan for £3,000. That was they couldn't lend me more money because with my salary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and with that money I rented the first property. I was doing, we call it rent to rent in London, very popular, and
Hmm.
that's before Airbnb and so on. And there you go. The whole situation changed because guess what happened next month after I rent the house and I rent the rooms individually. So because I rented the room individually, now I need to pay for my
Hmm.
own
Hmm.
room. So all of a
Hmm.
sudden, my next salary comes from the pub and from treasures, and I'm plus £600.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, how did
Oh.
how made this happen?
Yeah.
How come
Yeah.
in one
Yeah.
month? How come doing this
Yeah.
operation? Uh, Now I'm in plus. And next month
Yeah.
I'm in plus. So now the 600 next
Yeah.
month is coming 1,200 because and
Yeah.
it's adding. So I say, oh well, maybe might be a good idea to do it again. And this is
Yeah.
actually
Yeah. Do it again.
what happened. However, I'm with you. My parents, I can describe them like the best poor dads ever. You see, they give me a lot of love. They raise me with
Yeah.
looking after myself, and they give me with so much love the most poor dad advice that I can get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to
Yeah. Yeah.
university, study hard, and you're gonna have a job. I got a degree in chemical engineer. I have the
Yeah.
diploma.
Yeah.
I give it to them. They make them really, really happy. Never been done my
Never
professional
been employed as
university
a
in my
chemical
life.
engineer.
They
Sure.
were
Yeah.
just like 5 years. I don't know what I was doing there. You know what I mean? But but they,
I sat down one time. I was teaching at an event, and we could break off and do some one-on-one coaching for folks that wanted to see whether their journey would be right. And there were these two guys, and they were business partners, and they were both Harvard University professors. Professors,
Wow. There you
right?
go.
One was in economics, and the other was in history, I think. And they wanted to start a real estate investing company, buying and selling houses and stuff on the side. And I sit down with these guys, Harry, and they have been trying to do this business for 4 years.
Wow.
Zero results, right? Zero results. And I sat down with these guys, and I'm qualifying them. I'm trying to see what they need and where they're what's blocking them from moving forward. And it was their engineering backgrounds. It was their intelligence. It was, they wanted to study more. They wanted
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
underwrite some more.
And until you don't
They had
implement
the
more, and until you don't do it.
analysis paralysis. And this kid from the council estate in the south of England. I slapped a pair of these guys. I'm like, what are you clowns doing? You can't call me a clown. I went to
Well,
Harvard. I said, you're a clown and you're a donkey. You got to put some feet on the street. You got to make an
I,
offer. You got to talk to somebody, So it's
I,
interesting how people operate for sure.
Dave, on the other hand, you see, this in UK also we have this common problem in United States as well. You see that nobody come and talk about financial education. Nobody,
Oh, it's
but
bad.
life. But you know how stressful and how you've been there. I'm so glad, honestly,
Sure.
and I know why your courses leader ask you to teach the stuff because they instantly recognize that the people will resonate more with you than even with them because they even don't
Yes.
remember. Maybe they have different background. They already maybe their
Yes.
parents were property entrepreneurs. So, like for example, you see now the
Yes.
president of Donald Trump, regardless any political views that we might have, something is for sure.
Yeah.
Look, these kids raising in a home that they know what is profit, that they know what is
Yeah.
tax, that they know what is to have employees, that they know that they can live on their own terms. They know that they can run
Yeah.
businesses.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that they're very lucky. I wish, or we wish, that we raised in this type of environment. Unfortunately, we didn't. So.
Mm,
We don't
mm,
have any way from land. We don't have any kind of role model to follow. They don't teach a financial education on the university or in the school or in
mm,
UK or whatever, and then we start to because we don't have this financial education, we start to take some buying decisions where we're buying
mhm,
ourselves liability, and let me get you something, Dave. When things get
mm,
ugly, you
mm,
do lose your
mm,
house. You do
mm,
lose
mm.
everything. You create a lot of stress. Some people jump out of the bridge. Some people have heart attack. So this financial education, obviously for me, like I said, was what kind of by accident. It was I was pushed so
Sure.
hard against the world that I have no choice to
As was
become an
I.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. As was
I
I.
didn't have
Yeah. Me
no
too.
choice. So and that's why I know that they trust you to teach this stuff because they knew
Yeah.
that you're more qualified to teach the people
Yeah.
how they can change the situation than even
Sure.
themselves, and that's why they give you the role.
You talk about financial education, and this is going to sound so rudimentary, right? It's going to sound so simple. It almost sounds dumb. But I remember one of my mentors said to me one time, Dave, what's the difference between a liability and an asset? And we talk about it for a little while. And then he'd say, what's the number one investment that most people have? And everybody would say their primary residence, their house, right? And then he would say to them, let's go back to what is an asset and what is a liability. What's the definition? And he simplified it all the way down. And he said, an asset will put capital into my pocket. A liability will take money out of my pocket. It's as simple as that when you boil it down. I'm like, okay, I got that. He said, so let's talk again about that primary residence. Let's talk about your house with a 30-year mortgage on it. Is it an asset or is it a liability? And you would see people fighting in the room, bro. They'd be going like this, Harry. They'd be like, it's my number one asset. No, it's the bank's number one asset, right? The bank, because you pay the bank every month
Absolutely.
for you. And then they bring up the argument, well, I have equity, right? I have value in the home. I only owe 200 and it's worth 700. I'm worth $500,000. No, you have 500,000 soldiers sitting in the barracks doing absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
That's what you have. You have
The bank is
slow
using
money.
them though. It's the bank who's using your money.
Yeah. You can go, what's this? You can go to the bank. You can go to any bank in America right now, and they will give you what's called a CD, a certificate of deposit. It's like a short savings account. And you'll see a sign right in the lobby of the bank, and it'll say, CD. Right now they're like 4%. So they'll lock up your money for 4%, and then right above it on the same banner, it will say 30-year fixed mortgages 9%.
Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right? It's right in front of
7%,
you.
9%. They take my money, they give me 4%. They take my money, they give me 4%. And then they take my money and they lend it to somebody else at 7, 8, 9%. That's my money that they're working with. But when I started to see these things, I'm like, you know what? I got to be in the middle. I got to be in the middle. I want to be making money in the gap. And it's just a change in mindset. And I'm blessed because I can pass that on to my boys. They
And you don't need to be
the
smart.
same
I don't think
advice.
that I'm smart. I don't think that I'm smart. Robert Kiyosaki have another book, Why a Student A Work for a Student C, right? And
Yeah.
and you know how many people I know people that have read so many books. I'm so smart, so clever,
Sure.
and you ask about any topic, about history, you talk about churches, you talk about anything, they will tell you right away,
Yeah.
this is how it is, and blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they're always broke. I'm like,
Yep.
guys, why you rather than be reading 3,000 books about history, geography, because you want to be the I know everything guy, and you so
Ego.
clever,
It's
and you
ego.
want to be
Ego.
the why
Yeah.
instead you take few books about real estate or more basic, how to develop a product and how to sell it, and you know what, you learn in this probably will be two
Yeah.
three books, you will never
Yeah.
broke again, because if you learn a little bit about this, you will have money. You will have
Yeah.
more money.
Yeah.
So, but it seems like the environment out there, our education, our community, we are out there, and this thing that you and I discover, right, about learning a little bit by accident, yeah, by accident, or we didn't have any more choice. We were
Yeah.
against the wall, um, but actually it changed the life. Sometimes the worst day in your life, it become the best day in your life.
Best
Sometimes you are
days. Yeah.
thinking, why
Yeah.
this is happening to me? These people gonna take my house. I cannot cope anymore with this. And then because you are in that space, because let me tell you something. This advertising of radio in your truck have been playing all your life.
Sure. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's been there
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. It's good. No, that's good. Yeah.
You just wait until you were against the wall to take
Yeah.
action. So what advice do you have for people out there that are suffering, are stuck, they over leverage themselves, something very easy, because the
Sure.
system is like it's
Sure.
prepared for you to give you that big TV, to give you this car of the
Yeah.
year, and to
Yeah.
give that mattress that you can sleep
Yeah.
forever, to
Yeah.
give you that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, it's you need all
Look,
that. We all need all this, right? Yeah.
the advice is it's all in perspective, right? Unfortunately, this is global. It's not just
Absolutely, it's
America.
not
It's not
US.
just this
Oh
is
my God.
European, right? The
Welcome to UK.
victim,
Welcome to UK,
the
and I
vic, right?
can.
The victim mentality, right? The victim mentality. This is happening to me. This is happening to me. They did this. They did that.
It's the
She said this.
government.
He
It's
said
the
that.
government. It's
It's the
COVID.
government, right?
It's
So it's all of that victim stuff. And what worked for me and sounds like also for you is there came a day when I turned around and I said, this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. And I just got to come up out of the stink, right? Out of the mess, out of the noise that's out there, and have a little faith. I don't overly talk about it, but God is good, Harry, not just sometimes, all the time, right? And
If you
there
do the
is a
right thing, if
plan.
you're honest, if you do
Yeah,
the right thing, even when
yeah.
nobody's watching,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. Do something good for somebody else and keep your mouth shut, right?
hmm,
How
yeah,
about that for
yeah,
philosophy? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So,
Oh,
you start to change that way. And again, it goes back to step number one. Why do you want change? Right?
mhm.
Why do you want, $1 million if that's the plan? What does that represent? And if you can find clarity in that internal message, then the outside noise, it doesn't get so loud and distracting because it's a lot of noise out there. So I like to change my internal dialogue, right? Up here, between here and here, those 6 inches, that's the most dangerous place there is, brother.
Oh,
You
absolutely,
know, that's the most dangerous
absolutely.
place there is because there's voices, and not like, oh, I hear voices, but there's a dialogue that plays up there that says I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, rich, poor, black, white, male, female, dumb, smart, like this. I can always find an excuse to not implement something, right? So if I can begin to refocus my brain, there's some great stuff out there. There's really good literature out there. There's The Influential Mind is a book by Tally Sharot, Sharrot, Influential Mind. And it talks about like the mind mechanics, the chemistry of the brain, and what a powerful, powerful tool it is. And if you can start to just baby steps, man, baby steps, like really paying attention to what's being said up here. And it doesn't matter. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care who you are. We all have that element of yin and yang, push and pull. There's some literature out there about the white wolf and the black wolf. Who do you feed? Who do you feed? Are you feeding positivity? Are you feeding opportunity? You said something just now, and it reminded me that you know now I'm getting to know you more, right? We were in one place. We learned some things, implemented some things, took some leaps of faith, invested in ourselves, and ended up in another place, right? And those guys in the firehouse, I'm watching TV shows with them, and then they're watching me on TV, right? And they're like,
That's my friend.
that's our guy. And then they would say things. Now on the way out, while I'm doing it, they're like, Dave Seymour sucks. He's never going to be successful. He doesn't know how to do real estate. He's got no money. I know him. He can't even pay his credit card bills, right? Then they see the success, and you know what they say? Oh, he was lucky. I always knew he's going to be lucky. No, the definition of luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. It's like the iceberg. Have you ever seen that iceberg
Mhm,
image? Right,
mhm,
the
mhm.
iceberg. You only see the little bit poking out at the top, but you look
Yeah,
underneath, baby.
absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
there's fear, there's doubt, there's insecurity, there's
Mm.
financial insecurity, there's failure and more failure and more failure. So advice to new people: make a decision. Are you committed? If you're really committed, then the next step is what's my best path? And here's the truth of the matter: no BS, no fluff, nothing else. There are tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars of mistakes that are made in real estate every single day.
Me too.
As a new
If I tell
as
you
a
this,
new
all the
person,
mistake that I made,
yeah,
this is
look,
the
as a
only
new
way.
person,
This is the only way we learn.
you have to make a decision. Do I want to pay for those mistakes, or do I want to buy somebody else's mistakes,
Hmm,
which is
hmm,
the education?
hmm,
Right?
hmm.
With my
Exactly.
track record, if I say to somebody, don't buy that house, and they say, well, no, I watched a YouTube video and it said I should buy this house,
I said,
and
well,
they buy that house and they lose their shirt, that's on them. I told you not to buy the house. Why am I telling you not to buy the house? Because I bought one like that 5 years ago, and I lost my
and it,
insurance.
then
It's the way it works, you
the
know.
but in the end of the day, the environment. I remember because when I started my first business, I was like this in the property. I was so excited, yeah. And then I go
Yeah.
out with my friends, and everybody's talking about the job, everybody's talking about this, everybody's talking about that, and then I go in there and talk. Look,
Mm,
guys, this is what I'm doing. I don't have a job. This is my business.
yeah.
Um, and nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares about anything. I'm thinking, wow, it seems that I'm gonna lose all my friends. It
Yeah.
seems that now
Yeah.
because I'm doing this business
Yeah.
thing, I need to find new friends, and I felt lonely, for a while because I was
Yeah.
isolated,
Yeah.
didn't know anybody that was an entrepreneur, and I was running this business like a self-wolf, yeah, and it took me a while to start to meet people. Now, on the other on the other side, now all my friends are entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
podcast, 500 million have been here. So the only people
Sure.
that I know they are entrepreneurs and they are successful. But who's responsible to change your environment? I have two choices,
Yeah.
and I keep going with these friends that number one they don't care about, and number two I don't have any common point that speak with them because I'm doing something different that sound like Chinese to them. It's not that you see somebody comes and says, "Look, I'm making money and it's doing like this and it's going so well. I'm working for myself and I can." I think that everybody should come and say, "Wow, teach me more. I want to be part of it." But that didn't happen. Totally the opposite. Nobody cares. This guy's crazy. He's gonna lose his money. I don't want to know about it. Hello,
Yeah.
hello. We laugh at jokes. We drink some beers in the pub. Everybody goes home, and there I am
Yep.
alone. I'm thinking, my God, this. And then you turn out to my parents. They always have been a big support, but my mom is like, "Why you don't find a job? Why you have this business? Why you went to
You
university
have
for?"
no job.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
that also concern. Then your family also out there, look, what is it doing? It's crazy and things like this. So you have to deal, and you have the nature of an startup business in the property,
Mm,
that you have
mm,
to
mm.
sell the rooms. You have pressure, you have competition. You need to, and
Sure.
sometimes you think it to yourself, am I really doing the right thing? So Dave, what impact do you have in your environment when you said I'm gonna take the last $27,000 that I have in my credit card
Yeah.
to invest
Yeah.
in an education? It took a lot of
Yeah.
courage. It took a lot of. It was the first time in your life that you really want to invest in yourself. That you really
Yeah.
invest in
Yeah.
yourself. You took the last money that you have to do something for yourself to change your situation. That took a lot of courage.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
After you done it, what happened? Did anyone in your environment tell you you're crazy? These people, property people, only want your
Yeah.
money.
They all did. They
They're
all did. Yeah. Yeah.
and
They all did. I
how
mean,
was it? How was it? It's tough to deal with that, yeah. Now it sounds funny and we're
so
having a laugh, but when this moment when you take that decision, then
mm,
they're not doing again nothing wrong. It's just because they love you, but so because they don't know what is your reality, they don't know why you invested, they don't even know
they
your
don't look.
framework. They can tell, oh,
They
these
don't
people, this
understand.
property, whatever, they want your money because they are not in the context, they are not in the framework. They don't understand not even why you're buying. They
Right.
they didn't hear, they
Right.
didn't met these people. Everybody start to make an opinion, and you have to be very very strong and very
Sure.
confident that
Sure.
you took the right decision. So tell us anything that you can share with us. How can we mitigate this, and where do you find courage? You mentioned God, so where do you find courage to keep going?
My wife is my rock. I'm just, I'll be frank with you. She's a rock that I get to stand on so I can
My
look
girlfriend
cool.
too, she's here in
Um,
the in the picture in the background. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny. I'm watching those pictures flick through in the background. I've
yeah.
been on stages with Tony Robbins, um, Wes,
Les Brown, yeah,
Um,
great.
Les
Yeah.
Brown, JT Fox.
Oh yeah, with the
Um,
whole gang, yeah.
I know most of
Ah,
those folks back there.
ah.
You asked me where the courage comes from. It comes from, it doesn't take courage when you really, really enjoy what you're doing, right? The old adage, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So there's some of that in there. But at the same time, there's a drive. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 58. I could maybe just, hang up my cleats and call it a day. But my oldest boy, who's 30, he says to me the other day, he goes, "Dad, you're never, ever, ever going to retire," and he's absolutely right. Like I love to structure a deal. I love when an investor trusts us and we put their money to work. Right. I love that commitment. I
Properly, not
love
like the
being,
bank. You put the
yeah.
money to work properly, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no, we put the work to, yeah, it goes into the projects, not in my pocket.
Uh,
But there's
all the
a
time, Dave, that you work for money, now it's payback time.
the
Now the
money's working
money
for
is
me.
gonna work
Yeah,
hard for you and
yeah,
for everybody
yeah,
that you know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
payback time, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's payback. It's like and here's the other thing too. We talk about money, right? The premise, how do you make your first million? $1 million ain't worth anything today, bro. It's not
Absolutely.
worth anything.
And if
You
you're
know
in
what I mean?
property, be careful because you in the blink of an eye. You...
So what does that really mean? What that means is it's just a tool, right? It's a
Mhm.
tool. It's a tool in the toolbox. And when you can take the power out of money and really turn it over to what can this create? So, we're building a 106 unit apartment complex in Cape Coral right now. We're on the
Wow.
1 yard line. We're about, I don't know, we're maybe 90 days away. But what's been going on there is builders have been going to work. Investors are making money on their money in the project. The bank construction loan, they made their money too, right? And we get to orchestrate that. And I was driving by the project with an investor, I don't know, last year or whatever, and the investor said, he goes, "It feels good to know that I'm a part of that family getting paid, being able to, celebrate their Thanksgiving, celebrate their holidays, pay for their kids' little league and basketball." And we did that. We do that as entrepreneurs, especially in the property game. So, the impact is massive when you start looking like that. And at the end of the day, one of my first mentors in multifamily said to me, he goes, "Dave, it's just zeros. You have one more zero going in, there's one more zero coming out, right? Is it a
Mhm.
million? Is it 10 million? Is it 100 million? Is it
Mhm.
$1 billion?
And
They're just zeros." And I'm like, yeah, that's easy for you to say. You got 10,000 doors under your belt, you've been playing the game longer. But staying committed, knowing that it's not ever going to go perfect. It's never going to go perfect. Being able to adjust risk. I always say box out the corners, look for the demons, right, and the gremlins that are hiding in the corner, and be prepared to the best of your ability. But when you do that, you can get a nice winning streak, if you will, and be able to put something together that people are going to think about for years to come. So that's my best advice. Get in the
Love
game.
it, love it, love it. Absolutely. So, Dave, if people want this inspired by our conversation, they love our conversation. Maybe they are
Yeah,
listening to this podcast. We have a lot of people listening to this broadcast that wanna be an entrepreneur, wanna be,
yeah,
and they're
yeah.
just listening to for words of encouragement, for seeing a role model,
Sure.
maybe see someone that have been in the shoes before, and maybe they resonate. So, if people want to have access to you or to learn more about
Sure.
you, how people can find you, how this process works. Do you have any website or anything?
Yeah,
Can you share with
yeah,
us?
yeah. We got Freedom Venture. Freedomventure.com is it's our front door. That's our investment company. But if you find me on LinkedIn, Dave Seymour on LinkedIn, located in Boston and Fort Myers, that's a great way to connect with me. And if you're in the States, I'm old school. You can actually pick up the phone, 781-922-4418, and just say, hey, I heard you guys on Harry's show. Love to chat. If you're an investor and you're not getting double-digit returns on your money, if you're an investor and you're not doubling or tripling your investment capital in 3 to 5 years, and you've got a little bit of knowledge, then reach out to us as well. We always have investments in the pipeline where money can work with velocity. That's what I
Oh,
always
pay
say.
by
You
time,
got to
baby. I
velocitize.
know. After
Got to.
this interview, I know that you're gonna put the money to work really hard for you guys because it's
Yeah,
pay
for
by
sure.
time for
For
you.
sure.
Oh, it's so hard that
Yeah.
you work for this money and they
Yeah.
put you so much
Yeah.
trouble. Pay by time, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much.
They like that.
They are, that's have been fantastic. So glad to hear uh, how uh, how you took the decision, how you turned your life around. And we want to
Appreciate you.
encourage
Thank
people.
you.
Yeah, from this broadcast, we want all the entrepreneurs to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. And definitely, what we really want for
Mm,
everyone, if you're struggling in your job, if you are in a financial position that is affecting your health. You are overweight, you're stressed, you don't
mm,
have time to see
mm,
your
mm,
kids,
mm,
you don't have time
mm.
to spend with your family and to spend time with your loved ones. There is there is light outside the tunnel. Yeah, find a role
True.
model, Dave. Someone that have been there, that understand exactly
Yes, for
what is
sure.
happening to you, can understand what you're going through. Hopefully can help you. It's just a little bit of knowledge and more implementation, and be ready to learn, be ready to fail, be ready to develop the skill to become a good property entrepreneur.
Mm,
Is a skill
mm,
like driving a car or swimming. The more you practice, the better you
mm-hmm,
become. Some
mm-hmm,
deals went okay,
mm-hmm,
some deal doesn't go that good, some deal you might lose
mm,
money and you
mm.
need to get back, but eventually you learn the
Yeah,
skill, and the practice will make you better. So the more you do, the more you practice. The
you got
speed of
it.
implementation. Yeah, thank you so much. And for all of you,
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
for all of you following, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like they break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.